Viewers have requested this video many times. Does line size make a noticeable difference when fishing a wacky rig? Well, good question. And if it does it really matter? Today we are testing both mono and fluorocarbon in 6 and 12 pound test. We will then also do a quick test with 6 and 17 pound test fluoro just for a reference. To run this test, I mounted a camera where I could see the lure being held on the surface. I then gave the lure slack and filmed it dropping. In the edit studio, I spliced these clips together, starting them all at the same time so we can get a sense of what is happening. I didn't cast the lures to try and eliminate at least one variable of the lure hitting the water at a different angle, velocity, etc. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we will take a look at lures in the first couple of feet in the water column. In other words, from the surface to about 2 feet down. This is what the split screen is going to look like. The 6 pound mono is all the way on your left with the 12 pound mono next to it. Then we have the 6 pound fluorocarbon and the far right is the 12 pound fluoro. Let's see what happens. As we watch, we can see that the 6 pound of both the mono and fluoro does sink a little bit faster in the first 2 feet of the water column. But really, the first 3 are quite close. Now, as the stick baits get to the bottom of your screen, the 12 pound fluoro all the way to the right definitely starts to lose ground or sink slightly slower. Next, we will look at a little bit farther down. Here I have all the green pumpkin stick baits on the same test rig entering the water at the exact same time. And even though these are different color lures, they are still the same lure. In that mid part of the water column, that 3 to 4 feet down, the lighter pound test line still is slightly ahead of the 12 pound. I did this drop test many times, and the results were pretty much always the same. Now, before we get to a 6 pound line versus a 17 pound, go ahead and drop a comment below about what you think about the difference between the 6 and the 12 pound is. And to me, I didn't really think that there was much of a difference, at least as much of a difference as I thought there would be. Therefore, I don't believe the impact as far as the speed of the drop would really influence what you're doing all that much. Now, line visibility in water that is clearer than this, well, that may be totally different. Anyway, here is the 6 pound fluoro on the left with the 17 pound fluoro on the right. As I repeated the test over and over, I was a little surprised that the sink rate between the two is basically identical. I mean, I thought there would be more of a difference than what we saw with the 6 and the 12 pound. So I guess what we can conclude from this as far as sinking on a slack line, the pound test doesn't appear to have as large of an influence on the line as maybe we suspect that it did. Now, on something like getting depth on a crankbait, well, that will be another test for another day. And hey, if you'd like to watch a video on my favorite lure, the swim jig, and 4 key factors on what it takes, or at least I believe it takes, to really master that lure, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.